spot, bringing stats like a kingpin. MMA knowledge needs his nephews all lean in, breaking down fights, codes that daddy's supreme on. Just a tip show, he's cooking up a dream. Uncle Weezy, he the man, dropping fight facts, got it all on hand. He the stat attack grand, MMA guru, more than just a fan. Wanna know the numbers? Weezy got them cataloged, from the fighters reach down to how many times they dog. Just a tip living, breaking it down slick, hit you with the knowledge, won't miss a single trick. Uncle Weezy, he the man, dropping fight facts, got it all on hand. He the stat attack grand, MMA guru, more than just a fan. Those deep predictions, he be making those calls, getting in the details, opponents feeling small. From jabs to takedowns, got the whole fight ID. Uncle Weezy spitting truth, no lie, keep it G. Blow the horn, blow the horn. Stat Daddy Weezy not showing no scorn. Fight night kingdom, he wearing the crown. Break it down for the peeps, never looking like a clown.
Oh, yes. What's going on, everybody? It is the first card of 2025 that is coming up tomorrow, headlined by Mackenzie Dern and Amanda Ribas, UFC Vegas 101. We're going to try to start off 2025 with a bang. I hope everybody had a great holiday season. I hope everybody has had a happy new year. And here we come into 2025 hungry. We want units. We want correct picks. We want it all, you guys. We want to stack cashed tickets like flapjacks. And I am not 100% today. I woke up on my girlfriend woke up on Monday with norovirus, throwing up and everything. And I was like, oh, Christ, I'm going to be getting this now. I'm going to be getting this. And Wednesday morning, I wake up and I start throwing up. And everything else that goes along with norovirus, can't keep any food down, nothing stays in you. It's been a rough couple of days for your Uncle Weezy here. I've been barely able to get out content for my Patreon and Dub Club people this week. But we did get Balls Deep breakdowns out. I kind of pulled a sick performance. It was not my best show. But we've got all the notes ready. We've got all the stats ready. We've got all the fight write-ups ready to go through a full card prediction for this card. We're going to go through all 14 fights. I'll give you a winner, a method. We're going to give you a dog pick of the week, Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. And then we're going to give you a 4-leg parlay. It's got a little meat on the bone this week. I think it's a little bit better than plus 700 on DraftKings Sportsbook. So we're looking to start this year off right. We want to get off to a good start, win some units, get on the plus side, and get ready for a great 2025. And that starts with the work that we put in this week, analyzing these fights, trying to find the angles, trying to find the plus EV lines to bet on that over the long term, we will be plus money gamblers, making some money every single year. So looking forward to another year, 2025, breaking down fights with you guys. If you want access to all of the regular content that I do for my Patreon and Dub Club people, you can check the links in the description of this video. That will give you access to the tremendous amount of information that I make available to my subscribers, which includes the fight write-ups for every fight on the card. It includes access to the Discord. It includes access to all of my tracked bets. It includes access to all of the stat sheets with the betting models for prop bets, for over-under bets, match-up stats, individual fighter stats in every possible category that you could possibly imagine. If you are a DFS player and you do DraftKings, you do FanDuel, you do Prize Picks or Underdog, I have every fighter's stats encoded into their scoring system so that you know exactly how many points per minute they score, how many points per fight they score, how many points they score in a win, how many points they score in a loss. So basically it's access to just about everything that's available from UFCstats.com to give you guys a little bit of an edge on these bookies, to know what the stats are, to know what the trends are, to know where these lines, when they're priced a certain way, are they priced fairly in accordance with the stylistic matchups, or the stylistic components of this matchup and the prior performance of both fighters. So it's my Patreon and Dub Club has access to a lot of great stuff. Check that out. All that those links are in the description of this video. But let's get right into this card. I don't have banners for you guys today, so I'm just going to go through these fight write-ups here and give you guys my predictions fight by fight here on Tapology. So let's view the picks that we have. And let's start with the first fight of the night. And it is going to be Nurulo Aliev versus Joe Solecki. I'm picking Nurulo Aliev to win this fight by decision. He's 7 years younger. He's 1 inch taller, and he's got a 2-inch reach advantage. And he's a wrestler. He's going to take you down. He's going to hold you down. He's going to camp out in your guard. He's going to stay safe from your submissions, and he's going to land ground and pound. This guy's 9-0 as a professional, and he only has 2 finishes. One of them was on Dana White's Contender Series against Josh Wick, and the other one was a corner stoppage after round 2. So this is a guy who is a great minute winner, and he uses his wrestling, top control, and ground and pound to win minutes. But he is on almost a 2-year layoff, and he's still only 24 years old. So Nurulo Aliev still has a lot to prove. But the Tajikistani wrestler, who's known as the Tajik Eagle because he kind of looks like Khabib Nurmagomedov, and he uses a high-pressure wrestling heavy style like Khabib does. The line on this guy is absolutely crazy right now at like minus 600. But Joe Solecki has got more pro experience. He's got 9 more fights, 35 more minutes of cage time. He's got the UFC experience advantage with 7 more fights and 75 more minutes of octagon time. Definitely the strength of schedule advantage. I believe he's the better submission grappler, and I also believe he's the better striker here. But he took this fight on 7 days' notice. And Joe Solecki is a guy who will give up position. He is fairly easy to take down, and when you take him down, he will play Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu off of his back. So I think that this is going to be a good spot for Nurulo to win minutes. Joe Solecki's not a guy that's really known for his takedown defense and get-up game. And if you don't have either of those things, it's going to be hard to win minutes against Nurulo Aliev. So the pick is Nurulo Aliev by decision. But my bet for this fight is I have a quarter unit on Joe Solecki to win by submission. Let's remember that Nurulo Aliev was training for Yanal Ashmos in this fight. Ashmos pulls out 1 week before the fight. Solecki steps in on short notice. So with Ashmos, you got a guy that's not really known for being a submission grappler. So this is a slightly different matchup for Aliev. And if he doesn't mind his P's and Q's, he could wind up in a guillotine, a triangle. We've seen Aliev be put in bad positions before by Rafael Alves, by Kirill Kilinikov or something like that on the regional scene. Like a 9-9 guy had Nurulo Aliev in a triangle for the last minute of a round. And you could tell when the round ended, Nurulo took about 10 seconds to get up. He was definitely very, very close to having the tap from that triangle. And Joe Solecki's a very high-level submission grappler. So I think Solecki is live to get a submission here. Plus 1,500 for the Solecki sub is something I played for a quarter unit trying to win 3.75 units. But the pick there is going to be Nurulo Aliev by decision. For the Fatima Klein versus Dudakova fight, Fatima Klein's 1.5 years younger. She's 1 inch taller, so she's going to be the bigger, longer girl here. She's got the better conditioning, as we've seen Dudakova really show some bad conditioning in her last 2 fights. UFC strength of schedule advantage is just a little bit on the Klein side, even though she has less UFC experience compared to Dudakova. And I believe that Fatima is the better striker and the better grappler here. So with Dudakova just kind of having a UFC experience advantage, I've got to go with Fatima. I think she is better everywhere here. I think she'll win the minutes on the feet. I think she's probably the higher level wrestler and will be able to win minutes on the mat as well. But, Dudakova, I think, is catching a lot of shit here. I think people are saying that she's just awful. And Victoria Dudakova is like 25 years old, you guys. Let me just grab this, get the stats up here real quick. Dudakova is only 25 years old. So she's going on 26 here at the end of the month. There's a lot of improvement to be made still on the Dudakova side, but she's a decent striker. She's a decent wrestler. And she's 2-1 in the UFC so far. Even the loss to Sam Hughes was a split decision. So I think that Dudakova has got some upside, but I'm not betting on her here. This line is crazy at like minus 950 right now for Fatima Klein, but I think she's going to win it. And I think that she's going to win this fight by decision. I think Dudakova is going to be able to hold on, but I think if Fatima does get a finish, it'll probably be in round 3 when we've seen Victoria Dudakova slow down in the past. So I am picking Fatima to win by decision, but I do think a 3rd round finish, if Dudakova has not improved her conditioning, is entirely possible here. The next fight that we're going to talk about, Magomed Gadzhiyasulov versus Bruno Lopes. Now, this is a fight I think is going to play out very close. A lot of people are saying Gadzhiyasulov is a fraud. I disagree. I don't agree with that statement, because a fraud compared to who? This is the men's 205-pound division. Have you seen the dudes that have numbers next to their name in this division? Most of them are not even well-rounded fighters. You got guys like Johnny Walker in that top 15 who couldn't take a punch to save his life. You got guys in that top 15 that couldn't get a takedown if their life depended on it. You got guys that are pure strikers with no grappling game. You got guys that are pure grapplers with no striking. It's a division full of unathletic, not well-rounded fighters who generally just depend on some power. So I think Gadzhiyasulov is actually a fairly well-rounded fighter, and well-schooled fighter, well-coached fighter. There's a lot of money behind him over at KHK Bahrain. But he's fought a lot of cans. He fought the Bolivian heavy bag on Dana White's Contender Series, got a win there. He got a win over Brenson Ribeiro, who's I think 1-2 in the UFC so far. And Bruno Lopes lost to Brenson Ribeiro on Dana White's Contender Series, but that was a different type of fight. Bruno just kind of walked into the fire with Brenson and decided to throw down. And I think if he did that with Gadzhiyasulov, he would beat him, because I don't think Gadzhiyasulov has the kind of power to translate to the men's 205-pound division of the UFC. I think he can knock out regional scene clowns like he was. This guy fought some of the most hilarious low-level fighters I've ever seen. When you watch this guy's tape before he got to the UFC, these guys that he's fighting are just the definition of tomato can. So I think Lopes has got a strength of schedule advantage here. He's a little bit more experienced as a pro. I rate him as the better finisher, and I rate him as the better submission grappler. But Gadzhiyasulov has got a little bit more experience at the UFC level, a 1-inch reach advantage, and I think he's the better minute winner wherever the fight goes. I think he can win minutes at distance striking range. I think he can win minutes with his wrestling, but I just don't think, like right now, the line on Gadzhiyasulov is like minus 260. I don't see him looking like that. I see this being a very, very close fight, because Lopes is going to be more aggressive. I think Lopes, if he gets on top, is going to be a big problem for Gadzhiyasulov, because he's got very good Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And I just think that Lopes's conditioning, actually, I think Bruno Lopes is going to have the much better conditioning in this matchup. So I think this fight plays out really close, and I'm actually picking the upset here, Bruno Lopes to win by decision. But I think that if you're going to bet on the Gadzhiyasulov side, I think it's a pretty good look to just bet an over here for this fight, or to bet the Gadzhiyasulov decision if you're on his side, because I just don't see the finishing ability from this guy. Let's not forget, Brenson Ribeiro has 6 losses as a professional going into that fight with Gadzhiyasulov. He had been finished in 5 of those 6 losses by a lot of guys that you've never heard of on the Brazilian regional scene. Gadzhiyasulov didn't get anywhere close to finishing him. Now, he got kind of close to finishing the Bolivian heavy bag, but that dude is a Homer Simpson clone. He's just got incredible durability. So I don't think Gadzhiyasulov is going to finish fights at this level. So I see this fight going to decision, and I actually am picking Lopes to win by decision, but I wouldn't be surprised if Gadzhiyasulov got the nod. I think it's going to be a close fight, but I'm picking the underdog here. The next fight is going to be Ernesto Keriskari versus Nicole Calari. Now, I'm picking Keriskari to win this one by decision. She's got massive size advantages here with being 6 inches taller and having a 9-inch reach advantage. She's slightly younger, 1.5 years younger than Nicole, and she's got a little bit more UFC experience. You know, Nicole is a debutante here. So first fight, you got that, you got the potential nerves, you got the potential adrenaline dump. But it's at the apex, so that's going to help with not a live crowd here to deal with. Keriskari can give up minutes getting taken down and held down, though. So that's something I saw a lot on the regional scene in both of her fights against Letitia Blow on the regional scene. Letitia Blow is a 38, 39-year-old judo player who's built a lot like Nicole Calari. And she was getting takedowns. She was getting a lot of top time. And I'm not even entirely sure that Ernesto won either of those fights against her. She was a draw the first time she fought in Letitia. The second one was a split decision win in a 5-round fight where the announcers were saying that Blow was up 3-1 going into the 5th round. And I thought Letitia might have even won the 5th in that round, but 5th round of that fight. But I think it's important to know that Ernesto has work to do on her takedown defense and get up game. That's going to be something that could potentially hold her back going forward here. Now, Nicole, she's got 3 more fights, 3 more years as a pro fighter. She's the better finisher. She's got a 100% finish rate in all 8 of her pro wins. And I give her the grappling advantage in this fight. Now, I'm picking Ernesto Keriskari to win this one by decision, but I think that Calari can make this really close. So I actually have a bet on the Calari money line, and I got it at plus 230. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm worried about Keriskari's takedown defense and get-up game, and I'm worried about her striking defense. I don't think either are very good. So I think that there's a possibility that Calari could win minutes and moments in this fight. She could potentially get a submission on the ground. She could potentially be the one landing the more eye-catching shots on the feet. A lot of people don't realize that Calari's base in MMA is striking. She started with karate. She's a world champion in karate. So I do think that Nicole could absolutely make this a very close fight. So I think there's value on the money line. But the thing that worries me the most about Nicole is UFC debut. So you got the potential for the nerves and the adrenaline dump. And there is a big conditioning advantage here on the Keriskari side. So I think round 3 is going to go to Keriskari at a very high rate. So, but I still think that there's finish potential for Nicole, and there's potential that she could potentially win the first or second rounds. So this could be a good bet on the money line. Some good value there, but the pick is going to be Keriskari by decision. The next fight is going to be Preston Parsons versus Jacoby Smith. Jacoby Smith is making his debut here. He is a Dana White's Contender Series product, a wrestler, very, very good wrestler, 2-time national champion at the junior college level. After he won those 2 national championships, he was invited to come to the Oklahoma State wrestling team, where he was a Division I All-American at one of the top wrestling programs in the entire country. So this Jacoby Smith is very athletic. He's got some power, and he's got that wrestling base that he'll always be able to lean on and get takedowns in top control. But Parsons is going to be 1 inch taller. He's more experienced as a pro and in the UFC. He's got the UFC and the overall strength of schedule advantage by quite a bit. And he's got the submission grappling advantage here. This guy's got a ton of submissions on his record, while I don't think Jacoby Smith has any submissions on his record, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look at that for you guys, though, here. Jacoby Smith has 0 wins by submission, 7 wins by knockout, and 2 wins by decision. So I'm thinking that Jacoby Smith is going to be able to get takedowns here. We think of Preston Parsons as a wrestler. This is not a guy who even wrestled in high school. He's an MMA wrestler. That's a good thing. But when it comes to a guy like Jacoby Smith, a very good MMA wrestler against the Division I All-American, you really get the idea of which one of those guys is going to prevail if they're shooting takedowns or if they're trying to stuff the takedowns of their opponent. So Preston Parsons' striking doesn't stand out enough to me in order for me to believe that he's going to be able to, if he does stuff the takedowns, that he's going to be able to win enough minutes on the feet here in order to get the job done. So I have to pick Jacoby Smith, but it's a debut. We still got to learn a little bit about whether this guy's conditioning is UFC level or not. And I do believe that he'll be able to get takedowns and hold this guy down, but I don't think he's going to be able to finish him because I think that Preston Parsons has got a really good submission game. So I don't think Jacoby Smith is going to be landing massive ground and pound here to get him out of there. So the pick is going to be Jacoby Smith to win this one by decision. And we'll see that one right there. So Jacoby Smith by decision sitting at about plus 240 on Bet Rivers Sportsbook. I've been kind of like hovering my finger over making that click. I think I am going to make that click at some point. I think Jacoby Smith is going to win this one by decision, and plus 240 is a pretty good price for a decision prop when the kid's money line is sitting at minus 600. So that's the way I'm going to be looking at that one. All right, the next fight that we're going to talk about is going to be Thiago Moises versus Trey Ogden. We've got Moises is going to be 5 years younger. He's more experienced as a pro. He's more experienced in the UFC. He's got a pretty sizable UFC strength to schedule advantage. And I believe he's the better striker, and I believe he's the better grappler in this matchup. So that's really all I need to know. Trey Ogden is going to be 2 inches taller. He's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage. He's a very good game planner. He seems to be able to fight to the weaknesses of his opponents. But the thing that I've seen with Thiago Moises is he's very difficult to beat if you can't bully him. And Trey Ogden is not a bully. Trey Ogden's not going to walk you down. He's not going to fuck you up by just hitting you harder than you hit him. He's not this great wrestler. He's not going to top time somebody like Thiago Moises. I believe that Moises is the better wrestler by a decent margin here. And I think that the guys that Thiago Moises has lost to, I think every single one of them would be minus 250 or minus 300 over Trey Ogden. You look at the list of guys that have beaten Thiago Moises here. Ludovic Klein, Benoit Saint-Denis, Joel Alvarez, the current champion, Islam Makhachev, Damir Ismagulov, and Beal Dariush. I mean, these guys are some of the top fighters in the entire division. So I think that Moises is getting a nice step down in competition here, and I'm not entirely sure where Trey Ogden can make him uncomfortable. And I think that a guy in Ogden who's been submitted 3 times in 6 losses is going to be very, very live to get submitted by a high-level submission grappler like Thiago Moises. I think Moises' low leg kicks are going to make a big difference here. And I think some of those takedowns that Moises shot in the Klein fight, that Klein was able to stuff, there's no way that Trey Ogden is stuffing those takedowns. Klein is an absolute athletic freak, and I can't believe Moises got in so deep on his hips so many times, and Ludovic was just, I mean, like, I don't know how he did it, but he stuffed every single one of those takedowns. I think Moises is going to get in on his hips. I think he's going to take him down, and I think he's going to toy with him on the ground. So I'm looking for Moises to not just win this fight, but win it inside the distance by a second-round submission here. And I have a 3/4 of a unit bet on Thiago Moises to win by submission at plus 550. And I'm also thinking about parlaying his money line with somebody else that we're going to talk about a little bit later. But I haven't pulled the trigger on that yet, but I do think I might do that. The next fight that we're going to talk about is going to be Marco Tulio versus Ihor Poterya. this is, Tulio's a big favorite in this fight, but I think he's the better striker. I think he's the better grappler. I think he's got more power. He's a shoot box Diego Lima guy. He's been pretty well tested on the regional scene. He won twice on Dana White's Contender Series. So I think the kid's a really good prospect. And Poterya has got a ton of advantages, though, on paper here. He's 2 years younger. He's 3 inches taller. He's got a 1-inch reach advantage. He's the southpaw in this southpaw versus orthodox matchup. More experienced as a pro, 14 more fights. More experience at the UFC level. He's got 7 more fights and almost an hour more of octagon time as Tulio makes his debut tomorrow. And he's also got the UFC strength of schedule advantage. So, Poterya has got a lot of things that you can like about him on paper here to win this fight. But the problem is that I think Tulio's got more power, and I think he's the better striker, and I think he's the better grappler. So I've got to pick him to win this fight. And because Poterya has got really bad conditioning, I just see this guy slowing down later on in fights every single time. So the conditioning is something that I don't see Tulio struggling with. So I think that if he does get a finish, it's going to be late in the fight. But I think that these guys are going to go very close early in the fight. But until I see Ihor start to show that he can persevere late in fights and win rounds late and push a pace for 15 minutes, I've got to pick Tulio here. And let's not forget, Poterya couldn't even manage to make weight. He blew it once again. This is, I think, the second or third time that he's missed weight at 185. And so he's probably not putting in the work. He's probably lazy, So I think that Tulio is going to get a late finish here, and we're going with Marco Tulio by 3rd round knockout in this one. Next fight, Jose Johnson, Felipe Bunes. We saw Johnson miss weight here. Not surprising. The guy's a 6-foot flyweight. It's ridiculous that he even tries to cut that much weight. But he didn't look horrible on the scales today. And he's been fined 20% of his purse, but he gets to come in heavy. That's going to be a huge advantage for him because he's already way taller than this guy. He's 5 inches taller. He's got a 2-inch reach advantage. He's 5.5 years younger than Felipe Bunes. He's more experienced as a pro. I mean, this guy's got more experience in MMA than 95% of the UFC. This guy, Jose Johnson, he's got, let me see if I can fight right up. So he's a very experienced fighter with 25 pro fights. This guy's got 38 amateur fights. It's all on his Sherdog and Tapology profiles. So this guy has got 63 fights between pro and amateur. So Jose Johnson, and he's only 29 years old. So this guy's just constantly fighting, constantly working on his craft. And he's got all these size advantages. He's 5.5 years younger, way more experienced, both at the UFC level and the pro level. He's got a slight strength of schedule advantage, and I believe that Jose Johnson is going to be the better striker in this matchup. But he's easy to take down, and he loses a lot of minutes in grappling positions. So Felipe Bunes' strength is grappling. It's wrestling and grappling, but he's also a dangerous striker as well. He's a well-rounded fighter who's faced a nice high level of competition on the regional scene. 5 fights in ACB. I think maybe even 6 fights in ACB. He went either 2-3 there or 3-3 there. But he's a 35-year-old flyweight. And now Johnson cheated and came in 2.5 pounds heavy and didn't actually cut the hardest 2.5 pounds to cut. So I think that I liked Johnson going into this fight, but I felt like Bunes might have been the value side because of his ability to be able to potentially get takedowns and maybe keep it close on the feet. Now that Johnson comes in 2.5 pounds heavy, I don't like this. I'm picking Jose Johnson, and I'm picking him to win it by 3rd round KO because I don't like how I've seen Bunes slow down late in fights either. So Johnson doesn't slow down, and even if you take him down because of the length and the height, he's unusually difficult to hold there, and he can just kind of like create a lot of scrambles and submission attempts. So he's a very tricky opponent to deal with. And I think he's going to get his hand raised here, and I'm picking him to win this one by third round knockout. And there is that prediction. All right. Next one. Fun fight between Punahele Soriano and Uros Medic. I think this is going to be a really fun fight. Puna, 1-inch reach advantage. He's more experienced as a professional and in the UFC. He's got 2 more fights in each. And then he's also, I think, going to be the better wrestler and grappler in this matchup here. Got a judo background, got a college wrestling background, and we saw him actually put that to work in his last fight against Miguel Baeza. But Medic is going to be 2 inches taller. He's got a UFC strength to schedule advantage, and he's got the striking advantage in this fight. And I think it's going to be a pretty sizable striking advantage. So I'll read the summary here. Very interesting welterweight matchup. A former lightweight in Medic against a former middleweight in Soriano. Medic has been underrated by the market recently, cashing in as an underdog against Morales and Semmelsberger. And even though he looked terrible against Oral Boy, that fight was a fight week replacement, and Medic was training for a pure striker in Johnny Parsons. Punahele Soriano is coming off a career best performance against Miguel Baeza, showing he has more than a powerful straight left, getting 5 takedowns, 11 minutes of control time, and outlanding Baeza in significant strikes 144-7. Prior to that, Puna had lost 4 of his last 5 fights and was looking to be on his way out of the UFC. The move down to 170, combined with Puna showing that he can win minutes with his wrestling, has breathed some new life into his MMA career, and I think his best path to winning this fight is for him to wrestle. His best chance of landing that left hand is to make Uros worry about the wrestling, and Medic looked gassed after stuffing 2 takedowns in 3 minutes into the Means fight. Puna can land with power against anyone, but Medic is the faster, cleaner, more diverse striker, and his jab in a southpaw versus southpaw matchup is going to be a serious problem for Puna. I don't know if we can count on Puna to wrestle his way to victory here. Uros knows Puna needs to wrestle, so he should be prepared to stuff the takedowns, land some clinch strikes, and some win the minutes and moments at range. I'm going to pick Medic to win this fight by second round KO, but I won't be betting on it because I believe Puna also has power, but his ability to wrestle could frustrate Medic and limit his opportunities to land big strikes. I think Medic is the rightful favorite here, but the line is a little bit too wide, but I am picking Uros Medic to get the knockout here, win this fight in the second round by KO. I think the speed is going to be too much, and I think he's just the much cleaner striker in this matchup. Next one, we got Austin Bashi going up against Christian Rodriguez. This is my favorite fight on the card. I think it's such a great test for Austin Bashi, who's a phenomenal prospect with some of the best conditioning that I've ever seen out of a young fighter. I mean, this kid's ability to be able to push a pace with his offensive wrestling is just phenomenal. And I'm really excited to see Austin Bashi make his debut. Christian Rodriguez is going to be a tough test for him. He's going to be the bigger guy, 1 inch taller, 1 inch reach advantage. A lot more experience as a professional, a big UFC strength to schedule advantage, and a big striking advantage. While Austin is going to be 3.5 years younger, and he's got the conditioning and the ability to win minutes with his chain wrestling and top control. So this is a fascinating fight to me because Austin Bashi still has a lot to prove. But from everything that we've seen on tape with this kid, he's 13-0. He's not crushing cans on the regional scene. He's fighting in Lights Out Fighting Championships, which is not a great regional scene organization, but they're finding him good regional scene opponents so that he's beating guys that have got him ready to fight at the UFC level. It looks like Bashi's doing everything correctly. There's a lot of people that are high on him, and there's a lot of people that are picking him to win this fight. I'm going the other way. I'm going with the Christian Rodriguez side here. There's a couple of reasons why. The level of competition is such a massive difference here, though. Even though, Bashi's not crushing cans, Christian Rodriguez would have easily beaten everybody that Bashi has beaten thus far. And I mean, I'm talking easily. So this is a big step up for Austin. And the Brazilian jiu-jitsu of Austin Bashi, I don't think it's on the level of somebody like a Raul Rosas, who he's already fought. The offensive wrestling of Austin Bashi Kid's got amazing conditioning and the ability to be able to push a pace, but his wrestling isn't better than Isaac Dulgarian's, and even though Rosas and Dulgarian both got tired, remember that Dulgarian's a better wrestler than Bashi. Rosas has better Brazilian jiu-jitsu than Bashi. So I think that you're going to see C-Rod stuffing a lot of these takedowns. And I think you're going to see optically something that looks like one guy is going to be avoiding the fight and one guy is going to be trying to fight. And the guy avoiding the fight, the crotch sniffer, the guy that's going to be shooting 30 takedowns over 15 minutes, that's obviously going to be Austin Bashi here. And also it's a debut, so you have to worry about, the nerves, the potential adrenaline dump here. We've seen Christian Rodriguez's conditioning hold up really well late in fights. He's got excellent conditioning. It's not on Bashi's level because this kid Bashi pushes a crazy pace, but I think there are some reasons to back the C-Rod side here. So I took a shot, man. Plus 240. I've got 1.5 units on his money line. I'm looking to cash big on it. I think that optically, C-Rod is going to be landing more damage in this fight. I don't see any way that C-Rod doesn't land more damage. He's the way better striker. If you watch Austin Bashi's tape, you might see what I saw, which is a guy who's completely uncomfortable at distance striking range. He never chooses to strike. And when he does choose to strike, it looks like he's just trying to set up takedown entries. So I think that this kid's got a lot to prove. I think he's fairly one-dimensional, and he's getting a big step up in competition here. So these are the kind of spots that I like to back the dog. So I'm doing that, but I won't be surprised if Austin Bashi comes out here and looks like the phenom we've been told that he is. And I believe that this kid's got an incredibly bright future. I'm not calling Austin Bashi a fraud by any stretch of the imagination. I think this kid's going to be one of the top fighters in the featherweight division for many years. But I also am a big believer in Christian Rodriguez, and this is a tough test for Austin Bashi here. Next fight that we're going to talk about is going to be Chris Curtis versus Roman Kopylov. So this is an interesting one. I'm giving Chris Curtis has got big experience advantages here, 27 more pro fights, 365 more minutes of cage time. And he's got one more fight at the UFC level and 25 more minutes of octagon time compared to Kopylov. He's got the strength of schedule advantage in a very big way. We got to really keep in mind here. I think Chris Curtis is a pretty good underdog this week because he's fought the much better brand of competition. His conditioning is much better. And I think he wins the third round of this fight at a very, very high clip. So at plus 211 or where he's sitting right about now, I think it's a pretty good look. But there's a lack of a threat in the grappling game. And man, I would be betting Chris Curtis if I thought that he would mix in a takedown attempt or two in the first 2 rounds, just to make Kopylov grapple a little bit. Because if he did that, Kopylov would be on death's doorstep between the second and third rounds. This guy's conditioning is so bad, and Curtis has never had any problems with his gas tank. So Kopylov is still 4 years younger, 2 inches taller. He's the southpaw in the southpaw versus orthodox matchup. He's the better finisher, in my opinion, and I believe he's the better striker, even though Chris Curtis is obviously a phenomenal striker. This is a boxer versus a kickboxer. And this particular kickboxer in Kopylov has got amazing weapons with his kicks. So I think that Kopylov should be able to win that first round. And if his conditioning is good in the second round, I think he should be able to hold and to do well as in the second round as well. But if Chris Curtis in this small cage in the apex goes out there from minute one, pressuring this guy, getting in his face so that he can maybe reduce Roman's ability to be able to score points with his kicks, get into that pocket where he might have the faster hands, where he might be the more educated counter striker. If he could do that, I think he's very live here. I'm picking. Oh, wow. I didn't even write my pick here. Oh, that's right. Yeah, this is one of the ones that I didn't finish up. But the pick here, you guys, is going to be Roman Kopylov to win by decision because I think he is going to win the first and second rounds. But I do have a bet here on Chris Curtis to win by knockout in round 3. And I think both of these guys have finish equity because Roman Kopylov has got ridiculous kicks, and I think he could land kicks to the body that could maybe shut down the liver of Chris Curtis. And if he lands one of those head kicks like he did against the Brazilian guy Ribeiro, I think that would be, that'll shut off anyone's lights. So I actually have a bet on fight doesn't go to decision here because I think Chris Curtis can get a late finish, a second or a third round knockout. And I think that Roman Kopylov is going to be live for a knockout because this guy has got precise, powerful striking. And I think he could potentially hurt Curtis, who at 37 years old, that durability probably is going to be waning just a little bit. So even though I'm picking a decision for Kopylov, I'm betting on the fight doesn't go to decision. And I've also got a small sprinkle on Chris Curtis, third round KO, plus 2,500. On DraftKings Sportsbook. I got a quarter unit on that, trying to win 6.25. So if Chris Curtis wins by third round knockout, not only will I cash 6.25 units on that third round KO prop, I'll also cash 1.5 units on the plus 150 fight doesn't go to decision prop, which would be 7.75 units. So even your Uncle Weezy, who has norovirus right now, would actually be partying tomorrow night if that hits. But Kopylov by decision is the official pick for this one. But I think Chris Curtis is a very live underdog this week. I think he can get a late finish, and I think he could potentially win the second and third rounds of this fight as well and maybe win a decision. The next fight, Cesar Almeida versus Abdulrazak Alhassan. This is an interesting one. Cesar's 2.5 years younger, 3 inches taller, and he's got a 1-inch reach advantage. So he's got all the measurables advantages here. He's also the better striker, obviously, former Glory kickboxer, extremely durable, fast, diversity of weapons, mixes his kicks and his punches really well. And he puts a lot of pressure on his opponents as well. So big fan of what Cesar really does on the feet with his striking. The weakness for Cesar is his grappling game. This guy can't stuff takedowns. He has not a very good get-up game, and he comes from a kickboxing base. So, of course, grappling is going to be his weakness. And because people know that, they're going to test that. So you're probably going to see Abdulrazak Alhassan go out there and do something that you don't usually see him do. And I think he's going to be trying to clinch up with Cesar Almeida, and it's probably going to be fairly easy to do because Cesar walks forward. So I think Abdul is going to try to close the distance, clinch up with this guy. And then once he gets him in the clinch, Abdulrazak can use that grappling advantage that he has in this fight. He can use that judo black belt that he has in order to maybe get some trips or some sweeps or some throws or some reaps while they're in the clinch there against the fence. I think he can wall install and maybe outwork Cesar in the clinch a little bit. Wear on him, tire him out, and make him grapple. He's got a big strength of schedule advantage here, according to my metrics, and he's the more experienced fighter. So I'm actually picking Cesar Almeida to win this one by decision. I think it is going to go the full 15 minutes because I think Abdul's got much better conditioning now that he's been training at elevation for quite a while up in Colorado. I think that he's been fighting a lot smarter, and he's going to be willing to use that judo black belt. So instead of these guys kind of just standing in the center of the cage trying to knock each other's heads off, I think you're going to see Abdul fight smart and really try to wear on Cesar. And if he fights that type of a pace, that type of a style, I think the fight's going to go the full 15 minutes. But the one thing we've never seen out of Abdulrazak Alhassan in his entire career is him put together a 15-minute performance where the judges said, "Yeah, Abdul, you won that fight." He's been the distance only 4 times in his entire pro career, and he's 0-4 to the decision. And that's because he is kind of a guy who relies on his power. So maybe this will be the first time that he can win a decision, and this could be it. Cesar Almeida's grappling game is that bad, and Abdulrazak Alhassan might just be well-rounded and smart enough to fight this fight where he can win 2 out of the 3 rounds and be durable enough to not get knocked out in the third. in order to get the decision win here. But I think Caesar is going to be doing more damage. I don't think we can count on Abdul to get a lot of takedowns and a lot of top control here. So I'm gonna lean with the Almeida side. But my guy Brady was talking about he liked Razak by decision at plus 1,000, and I think he might have played it small. And I don't think that's a bad look. I mean, I think that's kind of Razak's path here because Cesar Almeida is a very durable guy. I think if he does win, it probably is going to be by decision. So I kind of like the fight goes to decision here too at plus 160. I think that's a good play. Almeida round 3 decision, I think, is a decent look. And the pick is going to be Cesar Almeida to win this one by decision. This is the only fight that I didn't finish writing up completely, and that's Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Carlston Harris. I've got a significant UFC strength to schedule advantage here for Ponzinibbio. The striking, obviously, I'm giving that to Ponzinibbio, but the grappling I give to Carlston Harris. Carlston Harris is going to have a 3-inch reach advantage here. He's a little bit younger than Santiago. And the one thing that worries me about the Santiago Ponzinibbio side here is that we've just never seen this guy's grappling tested. It's literally been since, here, let me bring up these stats. I want to show you guys this. So these are all, you see this here, from Muslim Salikov all the way down to Ryan LaFleur. These are the stats that are available on my Patreon and Dub Club that I get sent. I send out to you guys about 2 weeks before the fights are scheduled to take place so that you can do some research ahead of time. You know, when you look at how many takedowns, right, his opponents have attempted against him. So he's only seen 33 takedown attempts in his entire UFC career. 33 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 fights. He's not even averaging, these guys aren't even averaging attempting 2 takedowns per fight against Santiago Ponzinibbio. A guy in Ryan LaFleur who attempted 10 takedowns actually got 5 takedowns and racked up 432 seconds of control time. 2 of 4 takedowns here in this fight. 2 of 2 takedowns here in this fight, but then only got 16 seconds of control time. People have not tried to grapple Santiago Ponzinibbio. In his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fights, he's only had 5 takedowns attempted against him, and they all came from like a 49-year-old man in Muslim Salikov, who's a solid wrestler, but he's not known for his wrestling. The guy's a pure striker. So I think Carlston Harris is the kind of guy who can really slow down the fight. He can actually wear on you. He can wall install you. He can make you defend in the grappling. And if he does that, I think that this is going to be a very close fight because I'm not seeing Santiago Ponzinibbio going out there and setting himself apart at distance striking range from any of his recent opponents. And Carlston Harris, while he's very not technical, you look at him like striking coaches probably watch him strike and they probably throw up watching Carlston, but you cannot prepare for his style. And he does have some natural power. So I think Carlston can keep this close on the feet. But I think if he fights very smart here and he really makes Santiago grapple, which is something that we just have not seen people do at all to Santiago Ponzinibbio in years, I think he could actually win this and make it look easy. So nobody's ever submitted Santiago Ponzinibbio. So I think that the best path here is for Carlston Harris to win this one by decision. So that's my pick here. I'm going with Mozambique. Guyana, stand up. Brazil, stand up. Carlston Harris, I'm looking for him to get a win by decision over Santiago Ponzinibbio, gente boa. But I think it's going to be a great fight. I think it's going to be a close fight. And I'm really interested to see this one. I don't have any action on this one, though. I'm not overly committed about feeling strong about either side. This one's lined close, and I think it's lined close for a reason because I think Harris can have success in the grappling. I think Santiago can have success in the striking. And I also think that this could potentially finish inside the distance as well because neither one of these guys has been known for being particularly durable. And Carlston's got a very sneaky submission game as well. Last fight, I'm actually going with the underdog here with Mackenzie Dern and Amanda Ribas. So when we look at the advantages here of both fighters, you got Dern is 1 inch taller. She's got a little bit more pro experience, a little bit more UFC experience. She's a very, very durable fighter. She's going to have the durability advantage here. And I'm rating her as having the grappling advantage. I do think that her Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is better than Amanda's. And I think that since the first fight that happened in 2019, been over 4 years since that fight happened, I think we've seen Mackenzie make some big adjustments to the way that she fights. Number one, she pressures. That's very important. Number two, I think her wrestling has gotten a little bit better as well. So I don't think we're going to see Mackenzie get shut down in the grappling exchanges of this fight like she did back in 2019. That fight was 4 months after she had given birth. She was clearly not the best version of herself, and that was the pre-Jason Perillo version of Mackenzie Dern. She's a much different fighter right now, and I think that her pressure style and her durability and her ability to kind of make fights into dirty wars actually favors her over Amanda, who we've seen finish several times. And I think that Amanda's durability is a little bit in question. Now, Amanda does have a 3 inch reach advantage here. In my opinion, she's got the UFC strength to schedule advantage. And yes, I believe that she's the better striker, better minute winner at distance striking range with that 3 inch reach advantage and with the volume advantage that she throws out there. But she is perhaps a tad chinny here. So it's a solid main event to start off the year. If you want to see all my notes on these fights, which includes, the recent fights and how she did win-loss, by decision or finish, what line they were priced at, the recent trends analysis for each fighter. If you want to see the strength of schedule analysis, if you want to see the distance striking analysis, the clinch and grappling analysis, all that stuff is available in these fight write-ups. These are available on the Patreon and the Dub Club. It's the best way to support my work. And yeah, I'm going with Mackenzie Dern to win this fight by decision. I think a finish could happen here, but I do see this one going the full 25. And I see Mackenzie kind of turning this fight into a bloody war. And I think if she does that, I think she's the one that's going to get her hand raised at the end. Bottom line is, I'm picking a lot of underdogs this week. I think a lot of these fights where the underdog is live are coin flip type fights. So I do like this Mackenzie Dern by decision pick. And I haven't played her money line yet, but I will do that. I'm going to probably put 1 unit on her money line and maybe a half unit on her decision prop. But I think that this is a little bit wide. I get why people are betting Ribas. I think she's the rightful favorite, actually, because she did win the first fight. And but we all know the rematches don't always happen like the first fight, and oftentimes they happen a lot differently. We just like one of the ones that I just recently remember was Volkov and Gane. That fight was a 5-round fight with no grappling. And it just, my thought was that was going to be another boxing match and that Cyril Gane was going to easily just outpoint Volkov from range. And it wound up being a 15-minute grappling match. I didn't see it coming. And I think that, this is a fight where there's been over 4 years since the first iteration of the fight. I think both of these ladies are different fighters right now. I think they're both a lot closer to their prime right now than what they were when the first time that they fought. And I think that this one's going to play out differently. I think you're going to see Dern have a lot more grappling success. And I think you're going to see Dern pressuring a lot more on the feet. And if she's pressuring a lot more on the feet, that can help negate the 3 inch reach advantage that Ribas has and maybe put her on her back foot. If she can put her on her back foot, you can potentially put her on her back, like we saw Virna Jandiroba do, like we saw Randa Marcos do a while back. You can get Amanda down, and when you get her back on the mat, you can keep her there for a while. And one of the ones that can absolutely do that is Mackenzie Dern. So yeah, going with Dern to win this one by decision. The dog pick of the week this week, I went with I didn't even write it here. I got to write it. It's Christian Rodriguez. I got to write that up for my people. Yeah, Christian Rodriguez. I think I misspelled Rodrig. UEZ. Yeah, going with Christian Rodriguez as the dog pick of the week this week. The Bootsy Collins Memorial Dogs Are Barking pick of the week is going to be Christian Rodriguez money line at plus 230. Yeah, look, I'm a big fan of Bashi. I think that the kid's going to be really good, but I feel like he's very one-dimensional at this point. I don't see him getting down, Christian down and into dominant positions early in this fight. So I do see Christian probably being the one landing the bigger shots wherever the fight goes. And I think you're going to see one guy optically looking like he's avoiding the fight and the other guy in Rodriguez looking like he's the one trying to bring the fight. I think that's going to look good to the judges. And I think Christian's going to get his hand raised here or at least keep the fight really close and be a value loser. Now, of course, we're not looking to make a bet for a value loser, but I do think that he's got a good look this week to win this fight at a very big plus money number. So I'm taking the shot on Christian Rodriguez this week. And that brings us to the last order of business for the full card breakdown. It's going to be Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. And this is about not only who's going to win a fight, but who's going to win it in violent fashion, who's going to go out there and really just kind of put a one-sided performance on their opponent. And what I try to do here is, because so many fighters, like I think Fatima Klein's going to destroy, Victoria Dudakova, but she's minus 950. You don't need me to tell you that she's going to win and win dominantly. I'm trying to find somebody who's closer to a bettable line that I think is being undervalued by the market, and I think they can also finish the fight. So what I'm going with this week, there were a couple of, I think my two favorite fighters to go with this was going to be Thiago Moises or Uros Medic. And I am picking Thiago Moises here to shave the ass of Trey Ogden. I think he's going to get takedowns. I think he's going to land. I think he's going to wind up getting the dominant positions. And when he does, I think he's going to show that there's a big grappling deficiency between Trey Ogden and Thiago Moises on the mat here. And I think Thiago is not only going to win this fight, but win it by submission in the second round. And I think also Uros Medic is another fine option this week because I do think he's the much better striker than Puna. Now, Puna is very dangerous. He's got a lot of power in that left hand, and he also showed that he can wrestle his last time out. So I think he's got some possibilities to win this fight. But we're going this week with Thiago Moises as Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. What's up with you guys in the chat? You've been waiting patiently while I broke down this card for the last hour. We got my guy Helder in the room saying, I would love to fight both girls, but not in the octagon. I'm with you, Helder. I know these are some two ladies that the MMA fans are big fans of, not just for their fighting ability. We got Disberg Yik in the room saying, felt like forever. Oh, what is up, dude? Good to see you hanging out. Olajuwon in the room saying at the theater about to watch Den of Thieves 2. I'm going to catch the replay. Let's cash for the Greasy four-legger of the year, baby. Let's get it, man. We got Bruno saying, what did you do during the UFC break? For me, I got married, had 3 children, started a company, and wrote a memoir. I did a lot more than that, dude. A lot more. Dixon saying, Merry New Year, Prophet Wazaya. When exactly is one done saying Happy New Year? I don't know, man. I kind of say it a lot, but yeah, usually about halfway through the month, I'd say. And we're about 10 days into the month. This song go hard. No cap, says my guy Dylan. Appreciate you, man. We got the Bookie Man in the room saying, yo, Weezy, what's up, Bookie Man? We got Fall in the room saying, what's up, Unc? Happy New Year. Hope you feel better soon. Appreciate you, man. I'm feeling a lot better today than I mean, Wednesday, I just couldn't even get out of bed at all. Thursday, I started to recuperate just a little bit. Tried to do a show. Didn't go very well. Today, I feel 10 times better than I did yesterday. We got Helder saying Virus is plus 250 against Weezy. I'll bet the favorite. Yeah, my immune system is going to be shaving this thing's ass. But it was me. Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week was norovirus shaving my sorry ass on Wednesday and Thursday of this week, man. It was not pretty. Volkan in the room saying, oh, what's up, Volkan? Saying Happy New Year, brother. Great end last year in terms of betting. Yeah, I had great picks. But the last 2 events of the year, I got shaved for a grand total of like 11 units. But the second half of the year was very good for me in terms of picks terms of return on investment and bets, and in terms of just kind of redefining my process. And, now I've just got to reap the rewards of that, my man. Thank you for the kind words, Volkan. Flo saying, oi. And we got Remdog saying, you are now rocking with the best. Oi. Yes. What's up, Remdog? We got House of Pain Michael saying, Weezy, you sound great and strong. I think you kicked the virus's ass. I think it's pretty much on its way out, my man. I'm holding down food today. I'm going to eat some more food after I'm done with you guys here. I'm feeling a lot better, dude. E99 saying, feels like forever since I've listened to a Greasy four-legger. Big fan of the channel, mate, and it's good to have you back from the UK. Appreciate you, E99. Thanks for hanging out, man. We got my guy Glenbot in the room. Sup, gentlemen? What's up, Glenbot? We got Remdog saying, sup, Glenn? Happy New Year. Glenbot saying, hope you're feeling better, Weezy. I am feeling better. Happy New Year, Remdog. We got Finn's chats in the room saying Calari, Solecki subs could feed families. Yeah. Solecki sub plus 1,500. Calari sub plus 600. I've got money on the Calari money line. So, yeah, if Calari gets a sub and Solecki gets a sub, it's going to be a huge day for me. We got my guy Lou Betya in the room. What's up, Lou? He's saying, Weezy, my brother, resolution for New Year, no more tip. Just going to jam it in. I like it, man. That's not a bad way to go, dude. Just get it all in there. I love it, dude. Old country way, like the Iron Sheik would say. Love it. Good to see you hanging out, Lou. I hope you're having a great New Year, man. We got D Spearman saying, Uncle Weezy, Happy New Year. What's up, D? Thanks for hanging out, brother. We got Juicy saying consent is for consent is for over betters. We got Brandon Oberly OBZ saying, let it be known, Uncle Weezy, top MMA predictor on YouTube, finger red #1. Yeah, man, on the for 2024, the UFC predictions tracker had me as #1 for return on investment for my straight fight picks and #2 for accuracy of my straight fight picks. So that was a huge honor for an entire year to have that good of picks, but I've got to clean up my betting process because I'm not winning as much money as I should be winning with having the best picks on the internet. So there are still some things to be cleaned up and to be adjusted here, but we're headed in the right direction, Brandon, and we're hoping to have a massive 2025. We got my guy Daz Files in the room saying Happy New Year, Weezy, in chat. What is up, Daz? We got Tone Miggins in the room saying, let's go. We got Daz saying, hey, Lou and Glenn. We got Lou saying, what's up, Daz? We got my guy Luke, sparring with reality, in the room saying, what up, Unc? What is up, dude? We got Lou saying, Tulio Poterya, great yam bags candidate with Orthodox versus Southpaw, and it has Ihor. Yeah, dude, Ihor was getting poked in the eyes the last time out by Caesar. That was a wild fight, dude. And he said, Luke saying he heard Ihor cuts from 225. My God, man. That's 40 pounds. That's ridiculous, dude. Yeah, but he just doesn't make this weight. I mean, he was fighting 205, and he was even struggling to make 205, I remember. And then he was like, all right, now he's going to go cut down to 185. And it looks like that should be his weight class. But with some of these guys, it just looks like they should be making it, but they kill themselves. And then other guys like Jose Johnson can actually make 125. Now, he didn't make it this time, but other times he can make 125 at 6 feet. It's ridiculous. Jose, says my guy Lou Betcha. We got AJ Worse in the room saying leader of men. Bashi to shave the ass of Rodriguez. Bashi's a hell of a prospect, man. Meta Human Project saying 170 is great for Puna. Yes, it is. That is a good weight class for him, and it looks like he's making the weight no problem. Calling my shot, says Glenbot. Kopylov head kick KO round 2. I'll be happy if that happens because I'll cash my fight doesn't go to decision at plus 150. Saying what's up to Daz. We got Jorge Sanchez in the room saying, I missed you, man. It's good to be back, Jorge. 2025 is here. We got another year of work to do. We got Bunk Hoots in the room saying, let's go, Uncle. What's up, Bunk Hoots? We got Salem Sarni saying Dern versus Heas is a coin toss. Doesn't deserve the risk. I believe you, and I am with you there that I think it isn't a coin toss fight for sure. Abdi saying, what's the easiest way to join the Discord with you and Brady and all the sharp peeps? Do we get access through the Patreon? Yes. The Patreon gives you access to the Discord as well as the Dub Club, whether you join the Dub Club link down there or the Patreon link down there for the $25 a month probability stats package. That has access to my Discord. Brady is in my Discord, but Brady's got his own Discord as well with his website and with his content. So, yeah, but that's what we both do. We both offer access to our own Discords. Wow, Austin Bashi wrestled at 103 pounds in 2018. That's crazy, man. That is wild. Fatima Klein was ranked 7th best grappler in the USA by Flow Grappling 3 years ago. Yeah, Fatima's a phenomenal prospect. Jayhawk is in the room saying, hey, Weezy, I've never commented before, but I've watched for years. Love your analysis and filter it heavily into my own. Shout out from DuPage County, Illinois. Stand up. DuPage, stand up. Dude, I've been out there for sure. Good to see you hanging out, Jayhawk. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for hanging out with us. We got Chinchak saying, please no greasy females in your parlay this week, Weezy. Happy New Year, Weezy. Oh, I think you're going to be disappointed, my man. Let me look. Yeah, you're going to be disappointed, dude. You are going to be disappointed. I'm sorry, but that is just how it goes. We got Colostrum in the room at Moises Auto, ranked 7th, but yet she has 0 submissions on her record. She's got 1 submission on her record. We got Paul Vivret saying, Umandu Hibas. Let's go. I love it. We got Colostrum saying this card is underrated. It's full of bangers. I agree. I think this is a good card. 14 fights, too. So we got a lot of work to do watching fights tomorrow. We got my guy Swig Betts over here saying, cheers, Uncle Weezy. Good to see you hanging out, Swig. Hope all is well with you, man. Hope you're having a great 2025. Michelangelo 305 saying, sup, Unc? Thanks for the picks. Get better. I'm feeling a lot better, man. I'm already an hour and 6 minutes into this, and I feel really good still. So I'm glad to feel better, man. This thing was kicking the shit out of me on Wednesday, dude. Thursday, too. We need a big dog card to bring balance. These lines are getting sharper. Bookies cheating on props. Judges and refs crooked. It's getting harder, and I agree with everything that you just said there, man. We got don't need subs to be a great grappler. Name me another fighter who mounted Jasmine Jasdavicius. Yeah, that's for sure, man. I think Kay Hansen tried, but did not get there. We got Matthew Chalk in the room saying, Weezy, my long-lost brother, what beer do you have today? I got no beer in the house, dude. There will not be any beer going into my system for a minute after this fucking norovirus. I'm going to try to dry out a little bit. I haven't been drinking much. I drank on New Year's Eve. New Year's Day is my birthday. So went out on New Year's Eve, went to some friend's place, hung out over there, got ripped, had a great time, rung in my birthday. And yeah, but right now I'm not drinking any beer. I'm trying to get over this, sickness and going to try to start getting back to the gym and stuff like that and leave the beer on the back shelf for a minute. Colostrum saying she didn't mount Jasmine. She just took Jazz down, but Jazz put in the butterfly hooks and reversed her and got up. According to footage in front of me, she had mount. We got the MetaHuman Project saying, I'm thinking of going big on Jose Johnson. Any thoughts on that? I would love to hear any advice. I'll tell you, I mean, I was already picking Johnson before the weight miss. Now with the weight miss, I think he's probably winning this fight. I don't know if I'd want to go really big on it, but I do think that Jose Johnson's winning this fight, dude. We got Enlighten My Opinion saying, Oi from Illinois. What is up, dude? Good to see you hanging out in here. A fellow Illinoisan right here with you, dude. Let's get some money this week. We got Achromatic saying Jacoby Smith and Austin Bashi had very similar wrestling records pre-MMA. Jacoby 85-17, Austin 84-14. Yeah, they're both very impressive fighters. She got the mount for a full like 3 seconds, but she didn't take dominant position. Posted the pic on my Twitter. Thanks for the live today, Uncle Weezy. Always nice hearing your input. Appreciate you, man. We got Michelangelo saying, stop commenting so we can hear the parlay. Alex saying he's got Ogden. We got Benino saying, thank God fights are back. Had to bet on Usyk in the meantime. We got Benino saying he's got 2 units on Johnson, and I have the buyer's remorse. Yeah, well, I don't think you're gonna wind up with the buyer's remorse after it cashes, because I think that weight miss really helps out Johnson a lot. Moises saying Jose round 3 submission. Let's go. We got Bet Sam saying Johnson is unreliable. I certainly wouldn't load up on someone who has missed weight historically and fails in takedown defense. Yeah, but he's a 6 foot, 125 pounder. So when a 6 foot, 125 pounder comes in missing weight by 2.5 pounds, and he was already going to be the much bigger dude, I think that really plays into it. And you look at because he's 6 feet, he can be taken down, but this guy's constantly looking for submission attempts and sweeps, and he's constantly striking from the bottom too. So I think optically, it looks pretty good what he's doing in some of these grappling exchanges. So we'll see how dominant Bunes is with his control. Tall man grappling for the win. Weezy, what do you think? There should be a higher percentage penalty for weight miss? I mean, potentially, yeah. I think there should be, because you see some of these guys, they'll gladly take that 20% clip not to cut that extra weight. Most of my money is on Johnson round 2 and 3 sub, should get it. Thoughts on the co-main? I'm picking Harris by decision. Bet Sam says that while I'm slamming 10 units on Austin Bashi, tall man grappling is an art by itself. Bet Sam will learn tomorrow. Kopylov versus Chris should be the main event. Bitterly cold in NYC. Feels like 10 degrees, but fights are back, dude. It's snowing here in Chicago. It's brutal. Let's get this 4-leg parlay out here, you guys, so you guys can get out of here. And let's go. Here's what we're going to start with. First leg is going to be the over 2.5 rounds in the Gadzhiyasulov versus Lopes fight. I see Gadzhiyasulov doing a lot of wrestling here. I see him getting the top control and kind of trying to stall out this fight. And I also think that he does a good job maintaining range. So I think a lot of Gadzhiyasulov fights are going to go to decision. And I like the over here. And this is a nice plus money line that's going to fatten up the value of this parlay. I was already picking Bruno Lopes to win by decision. My second most likely outcome is Gadzhiyasulov by decision. So when I'm picking decisions, I might as well just bet the over 2.5 rounds here and get it at plus money. And it's a very bettable line. That way we don't have to care who gets the job done. And you know what? These guys are both pretty durable, if I'm not mistaken. We saw Lopes get knocked out in the first round by Brenson Hibero, but he was just in the pocket, just swinging with that dude. And Brenson Hibero's got a 100% finish rate as a pro, while Gadzhiyasulov's never finished anybody with a pulse. So, yeah, I like the over 2.5 rounds here at plus 114. That's going to fatten up this parlay quite a bit. Now, the guy who said did not put any women in my parlay is going to be very disappointed with me. But we are going – now, even though I have a bet on Nicole Calari to win at plus 230, I think Keriskari wins the third round of this fight at a very, very high clip. She throws a ton of volume. She's 6 inches taller. She's got a 9-inch reach advantage and a big conditioning advantage. So I think the most likely outcome of this fight is Ernesta Keriskari winning by decision, but I could also see her getting a finish in round number 3 because Calari has a 100% finish rate, and she's not known for her conditioning, and Ernesta will put a pace on you. So the second line is going to be, we're going to up here in fight parlays, and we're going to go to winner and group of rounds here, and it's going to be Ernesta Keriskari to win in round 3 or on decision at minus 160. And if you don't have that bet available on your sports book, just put Ernesta Keriskari to win by decision, which is going to be sitting around minus 125. But that gets our parlay already up for 2 legs up to plus 247 here. The leg number 3 is going to be Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week with the Thiago Moises money line at minus 166. Like I say, I think he's the better striker. I think he's the better grappler. And he's got a massive strength of schedule advantage here. And he's 5.5 years younger than Trey Ogden. I think that Thiago gets the job done here. And I think he gets it done inside the distance by submission, as we've seen Trey lose 3 different fights by submission in his pro career. So Thiago Moises minus 166, leg number 3 of the Greasy 4-legger. and that'll bring us down to the final leg. A nice fat leg that we can hedge out on. And it's going to be Uros the Dr. Medic money line at minus 218 to beat Punahele Soriano. That gets us minus 218 on the fourth leg and plus 712. Let's see, 712. Enter. Scroll that shit. Comes out to plus 712 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Let's cash this thing. Let's make it 2 out of the last 3, and let's cash 11 out of the last 12 legs. We cashed the one 2 weeks ago. Last week, we had Josephine Knutson money line as leg number 1, and that did not cash, and then the other 3 legs did cash. So we're looking to hit all 4 legs this week and make this a plus 712 cash to start off 2025 on a winning bet. But we got Michelangelo saying Bet Sam is the man. We got Bet Sam. If you ever want help fixing that overlay so it's more clean, happy to help. It would take you a couple of minutes only. The overlay, I don't know what you mean by the overlay, but I could use help, Bet Sam. Holler at me on Twitter, dude. I could use any help that I could get, man. Appreciate you, Michelangelo. We got Jester in the room saying congrats on being the most accurate and ROI MMA YouTube analyst on YouTube in 2024, Unc. What an accomplishment. Thank you, Jester. I appreciate that. And I really owe all the thanks to UFC Predictions Tracker for doing all the work of tracking everybody's predictions on YouTube. It must be a tremendous amount of work that he puts into that. And I truly appreciate the work that he does to hold us all accountable, whether we're doing well or whether we're doing poorly. It's good for the people to know who's doing what out there. And I'm really proud of the results that I put with my picks last year and the return on investment of those picks. Got to clean some things up still for 2025. And the only thing that I can guarantee, Jester, is that I'm going to keep putting in a ton of work like I did every week last year. I'm going to do it the same thing this year, put in the hard work, do the analysis, do the preparation, and hopefully the results will come out really well again at the end of the year. So appreciate you bringing that up, man. Moises saying Lopes round 3 uppercut KO, aka the Euro trash grappling takedown defense. Yes, sir, man. Yeah, that could be it, dude. I could see that happening, but hopefully it's in the second half of the round so we can cash that over 2.5, man. We got Austin Bashi. Locke says Colostrum. Uros Medic versus Randy Brown would be fire. That would be a great one. We got Bet Sam saying throwing Austin Bashi in the mix. The boy is going to smoke up large and win 4 or 4 fights this year. He might. He's a good fucking fighter. Matthew Chalk, can someone here tell the ass shaving? I'm trying to rewind. The ass shaving of the week is Thiago Moises, Matthew. We got Overlord Zeros saying small world. What's up, dude? We got Bet Sam saying I'll DM you on Twitter. Appreciate you, Bet Sam. We got Vasilj saying at what time event starts, I am not sure. We got Golden Octagon, my guy Matt, the guy that did the intro for my channel here, saying, Oi, Happy New Year. Let's get greasy. Good luck tomorrow, everyone. I'm so glad we got fights again. Me too, Matt. Thank you for hanging out. You guys check out the Golden Octagon's YouTube channel on YouTube. And we've got Matthew Chalk saying, also, do you know your record on ass shavings? I bet it was good. I would have to go back and look, man. I don't keep track, honestly. Some other people have kept track for me in the past, but I'd have to go look. But I think it was pretty good this year. I know that there was one time, or a couple times, where I had 2 back-to-back losses, but I put together some really good streaks as well. Let's shave some ass this weekend, says Bonk Hoots. Let's do it, man. We got Robert saying, I like everything on this. I'm tailing. Let's go. Weezy, why can't California figure out how to end these fires before they cause so much damage? Oh, I mean, like, California's been full of, I'm from Chicago. So when you're from Chicago, you know what a retarded politician looks like, because they're basically everywhere you look, you see retarded politicians, people that have nothing but excuses. People that couldn't tie their own shoes, people that have never even had a real job in their life are out there running entire cities. And it's basically almost every big city in the country has one of these morons at the helm. And, yeah, California is like the blueprint for just absolute lunacy when it comes to doing anything that makes any kind of sense. So, like, these people are just morons. They don't know how to do anything. These are politicians. They would fuck up a cup of coffee and people are expecting them to put out wildfires. There's no fucking way that they can do it. They don't know what they're doing. So yeah, that's just how that's life. That's what you get. It's just terrible. Missed most of the stream. Hope you're feeling better, Unc. I am feeling a lot better today, Larry. A lot better. Thanks for still getting the content out. Yeah, I'm glad I was able to get it out, but I wish it was better, but I did the best I could with what I had this week, man. I'm Budsman in Chicago. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so, man. We got Matthew Chalk saying, what's your go-to pizza? Is deep dish really a thing in Chicago? Yeah, deep dish is really a thing. Lou Malnati's deep dish pizza, the best in Chicago. I like Barnaby's thin crust pizza in Niles, Illinois. I like Mr. V's thin crust pizza in Chicago, Illinois. Lou Malnati's is the industry standard, though, in my opinion, for pizza. I delivered pizzas for them while I was going back to school. It was a great job to have, that you didn't have to worry about your job when you weren't there, and the money was good because they were constantly busy because they do they put out great work. So yeah, it's Lou Malnati's, man. You guys, thank you for hanging out. Appreciate you guys hanging out here. Hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, leave me a comment down below. All that stuff means something to me, but what really means the most is when you show the support by joining up on the Patreon or the Dub Club, so that you can get access to those fight write-ups that you saw me reading from, to all the stats, all the betting models, all the draft, all the DraftKings stats, all of the tracked bets, all of the Discord access. This stuff is all available. It's going to make you a better UFC bettor in the long run, and it's going to make you make better decisions, more plus EV bets. I appreciate all you guys hanging out. 205 of you hanging out live right now. And we got to start off 2025 on a winning note. I'm looking forward to having a big year this year, and I'm hoping to bring all of you guys along with me. So thank you for your support. Let's get off to a great start here in 2025. Let's stack cashed tickets like flapjacks for UFC Vegas 101 and get this year started off right. Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you next week, Sunday night, for Stat Diggers. Later.